me. Oh, hold me closer, closer and closer, much closer, while the rhythm sway. Ooh, my little darling, won't you dance with me? Oh, hold me tighter, tighter and out of the sun.
Brian.
To be my guy, I wanna know where you're at.
Brad, this is Mary Ellen's boy. I believe it's Alan.
Well, Saturday night, about 8 o'clock, I know what I'm gonna do.
And there's Scott, Mary Ellen's older boy.
Baby up and take her to the picture show. Everybody
And Brian.
is dressed enough to be there too. And we're gonna have a ball just like we always do. Saturday night at the movie, who cares what picture you see? When you're dating with your baby in the last row of the balcony, well, there's Technicolor and CinemaScope just out from Hollywood.
And Grandma Josie, Ruby, and Emma, the three sisters out at Reuben and Barona's farm. And there's the brother, Hugbert Peterson. Nani in the background.
But there's none that can compare to the girl sitting by my side. Saturday night at the movie.
Reuben.
When you're dating with your baby in the last row of the balcony.
Rich Hurd. This is up at St. Paul, Minnesota, at Karen and Rich's.
When you're dating with your baby in the last row of the balcony. Oh, Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what picture you see? When you're dating with your baby in the last row of the balcony. Oh, Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what
It's Karen with baby Greg. T and Loretta.
you can dance? Every dance with the guy that gives you the arm, let him hold you tight. You can smile, every smile for the man who held your hand and you the pale moonlights. But don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna
At Carl and Ollie Loroff's.
say the last dance for me. Ooh,
Can you tell I'm eating? It's T and Dennis. It's T, Loretta, Karen coming out of the house. It's Carla, Ollie, Carla and her husband, Jody, the little girl,
ooh, baby, don't you know
Ollie,
can't you feel it when we touch? I would never, never let you go. I love you oh so much. You can dance, go carry on till the night is.
This is at Ortonville, Minnesota. Now we're back at Verona's with Brian playing in the sprinkler. Brad, Verona. Dwayne being ornery as usual. Lloyd's vet in the background. Brian, whose shorts would never stay up over his little bottom.
So darling, save the last dance for me.
Nani teasing the kids.
The last dance for me. Oh, save the last dance for me.
And Brad on Grandpa's riding lawnmower.
Up on the roof. Up on the roof. When this old world starts getting me down, and people are just too much for me to I climb way up to the top of the stairs, and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof.
Bev Strand Schlotty. Her little boy Wayne.
Let me tell you now, when I come home feeling tired and weak, I go up where the air.
Reuben, Dwayne, and Sam Hema. Bev's daughter Lisa. Brian.
And all that rat race noise down in the street. On the roof, the only place I know where you just have to wish to make it so. Let's go up on the roof.
Dwayne hard at work. Reuben. Sam.
At night the stars put on a show.
Putting hay bales in the hay mow at Reuben Barona's barn. This is over at Gary and Bonnie Strand's. It's Missy Strand and Scott, Brad. There's Todd Strand.
And if this world starts getting you down, there's room enough for two up on the roof, up on the roof.
Bonnie and Verona. Noreen in the background. Missy Strand, Todd Strand, Brad.
Has come, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid.
Reuben with Brad and Brian making homemade ice cream. In at T and Loretta's, there's Buzzy Douglas. Let me see, I think it's Hugbert on the left, Buzzy Douglas in the middle. It's Reuben and Dennis and T. This is in by Randall's trailer.
Stand by me. It's the sky that we look up.
And Dorothy Douglas and Verona. It's Debbie holding Brian. Dwayne. Jack Douglas in the background. Debbie and Dwayne and Brian.
Stand by me.
It was Larry Douglas.
And darling, stand by me.
tease garden out behind his trailer house.
Stand by me, stand by me, when all your friends are gone, and you're left all alone. Oh, stand by me, stand by me, whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand.
Buzzy Douglas.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem, a red rose up in Spanish Harlem. It is a special one, I've never seen the sun. It only comes after the moon is underground and all the stars are blue. It's growing in the street right up to the concrete that's often sweet and green. There is a rose in Spanish Harlem, a red rose up in Spanish Harlem. You see this guy guy's in love with you. Yes, I'm in love. Who looks at you the way I do? When you smile, I can tell we know each other very well. How can I show you? I'm glad I got to know you, 'cause I've heard some talk. They say you think I'm fine. This guy's in love, and what I'd do to make you mine. Tell me now, is it so? Don't let me be the last to know. My hands are shaking. Don't let my heart keep.
This is at Shawnee Mission Park in Kansas City, Kansas. These movies are from summer and fall of 1972.
If not, I'll just die.
And Brian's 3 and Brad is 6. It's Donna Sue, Grandma Bradley. This is at Grandma Bradley's house in the northeast area of Kansas City. It's Brad and Brian. And Donna Sue and Bill's son, Michael, be Donna's half-brother. He was murdered in Kansas City several years ago. Donna Sue died of breast cancer in 1993 or 94. Miss Grandma Nori. This is at 60th and Oak, where Sandy Guilford was living at the time. It's Eric Guilford in the doorway. There's Sandy Guilford. Al Guilford. Al, Eric, and Sandy. And there's Adam Guilford.
It must be hard to be a woman, given all your love.
Jettie McKinney and her daughter Kim.
You had
The backyard of 4009 Locust. Phil is down there cooking on the grill.
doing things that you don't understand. But if you love him, you'll forgive him. Even though he's hard to understand. And if you love him, be proud of him, 'cause after all, he's just a man. Stand by your man.
And what the problem was there with the projector, we hit a bad spot. We couldn't get over there for a while. It's Phil with Brian.
And show the world you love him. Keep giving.
Kim, got Bobby Vinton music in the background. And Brian on the new big wheel his dad just finished putting together. My guess is this was for his 3rd birthday or Brad's 6th birthday, one or the other.
Be sure it's
Betty Esplund, Dennis and Don Esplund, and they stopped by at 4009. There's Misty.
millions of hearts have been broken just because these words were spoken. I love you, yes I do. I love.
This was just a little girl from the neighborhood. That's Donna Kilburn down in front.
I'll die. So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Well, cross my heart and I hope to die. I'll never, never, never tell another white lie. Took a little doll out on a date last night. Next to her gravel Gertie would have looked all right. Now I'm between the devil and the beast.
This is at the wading pool down at Gillum Park. That's Brian.
I told her I loved her, but oh how I lied. And now she's getting set to be my blushing bride as she leads me to the altar.
Donna Kilburn.
'Cause I can't tell the preacher I was drunk.
Brad.
So Lord have mercy on a no-count sinner. Give me one more chance to let another guy win her. Cross my heart and I hope to die. I'll never, never, never tell another white lie. Be sure it's true when you say I love you. If you break my heart, I'll die. So be sure.
This is Brad's 6th birthday party. It's Eric and Brad.
It's a sin to tell a lie. It's a sin to tell.
Rosie from from next door, Rosie Brown at that time, now Rosie Acton. It's Adam, it's Kevin, Rita's Kevin. He died of AIDS about 2 years ago. That's Brett. That's Mrs. Duffy, Ralph Duffy's mother. Ralph is in the lower left-hand corner.
You handed me your book.
Adam with the blindfold on. Ralph Duffy with the blindfold on now. Eric and Adam helping.
Sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you. We dated through high school, and when the big day came, I wrote into your book next to my name, roses are red.
Kevin Wilson was blowing up the bubble.
Violets are blue.
It's Adam and Brett.
Sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you. Then I went far away, and you found someone new. I read your letter, dear, and I wrote back to you. Roses are red, my love, violets are blue. Sugar is sweet, my love, good luck, may God bless you. Is that your little girl? She looks a lot like you. Someday some boy will ride in her.
Dennis and Brad over at Gillum Park trying out one of the new gifts.
My love, violets are blue. Sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you.
Somebody brought a puppy by for us to babysit for. This is Brian with the squirrel at 4009.
Though we gotta say goodbye,
One of my favorite movies right here.
baby, I promise you this, I'll send you all my love every day in a letter, sealed with a kiss.
One of my favorite songs in the background. This is the band practicing down at Gillum Park. Tree in Mrs. Hirsch's backyard.
Every day in a letter, sealed with
Mrs. Hirsch painting her house, didn't want to be filmed.
the sunlight,
Kansas City Zoo.
your voice everywhere. I'll run to tenderly hold you, but baby, you won't be there. I don't wanna say goodbye for the summer. No.
This is a trip that we made to the zoo with the St. Mark's Daycare Center. So the children and teachers and so forth that you'll see pretty soon are from the daycare center. Kevin and Brett Wilson were along the way it looked. These are all people from the daycare center.
Yes, it's gonna be a cold
favorites. We'll have to copy this off and send it into one of the funniest home videos.
Stay free where no walls divide you. You're free as a roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. You're free, and life is worth living, but only worth living 'cause you're the shadow of your smile when you are gone.
Scotty is the new pup. Jetty and Phil got it for Kim, and Kim was afraid of it. This is Kevin Despain. He and Brian were 4 days apart. Their birthdays are 4 days apart. And they since moved to California.
Look into my eyes
So this is taken in the little back bedroom at 4009 Locust.
and see all the lovely things you are to me. Our wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Now when I read
These were the minister's children from St. Mark's Church. This boy was deaf.
The shadow of your smile. Now when I remember spring, all the joy that
Brad riding bike in front of 4009 Locust down the street towards 41st Street.
the shadow of your smile.
The train set that we bought from Art Ward. Used to be Lisa's.
Hey there, Georgie girl.
And Dennis out in the backyard at 4009. Babysitting the little rabbit.
See the loneliness there inside you. Hey there, Georgie girl. Why do all the boys just
Loretta. And T.
clothes you wear?
That's Tina that I babysat for.
Window shopping, but never stopping to buy. So shadows down, feathers and fly a little bit. Hey there, Georgie girl. There's another Georgie deep inside. Bring out all the love you hide, and oh, what a change there'd be
swing set that we bought from Art and Ann Ward. I see we finally have our fence up.
A little bit, hey there, Georgie girl. There's another Georgie deep inside. And got all the love you hide.
This is evidently 1973. The films are marked 1973-74 on this one.
See a new Georgie girl.
Tina's more or less the reason that I ended up starting the daycare center at 4009 Locust.
Is this the little girl I carry?
This is at Luce Park in Kansas City.
Boy, I play. I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small?
This song seems very appropriate for these older movies that we're looking at.
Sunrise,
Phil McKinney, Brad, Scotty.
swiftly flow the days. Seedlings turn overnight.
Jetty and Kim and Dennis.
Blossoming even as we gaze.
Jetty's about a size 14 now. She lost so much weight after having a surgery to correct a problem.
Here's one season following another.
She and Phil have been divorced for quite some time. Phil has stopped by here several years ago to see us. He's driving over the road truck.
Laden with happiness.
Jetty is working at the Liberty Hospital.
Lonely, I miss
Phil's putting a giant angleworm, or attempting to, putting a giant angleworm down. There it is, down Jetty's blouse.
my own. I'm so lonely. I'm Mr. Lonely. Wish I had someone.
They had an electrical fire in the house across the street. The upstairs, one of their light fixtures started on fire.
Away from home, through no wish of my own.
The green Volkswagens out front belonged to Carol and Connie that were renting the upstairs apartment at the time. They used to take the boys out for drives in those Volkswagens all the time.
I wish that I could go back home. Letters, never a letter. I get no letters. in the mail. forgotten. Yes, forgotten. Oh, how I wonder, how is it I fare? I'm a soldier, a lonely soldier, away from home.
I guess this is Kim's second birthday. Now they have baby Kelly, too. She's married and has at least one child now.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely. I wish that I could go back home. Have I told you?
This is out in Excelsior Springs after Rita, there's Steve Dancher. After Rita and Steve Dancher were married, living in Excelsior, and this is the 4th of July demolition derby put on by the JCs. This is about 6 or 7 months before Rita and Steve were killed in a car accident. So this would be 1973 because they were killed in January of 1974. Steve's son, Rita.
This heart would break in two if you refuse me. I'm no good without you anyhow. Dear, have I told you lately that I love you? Well, darling, I'm telling you now. Have I told you lately how I miss you? When the stars are shining in the skies, have I told you why the nights are long when you're not with me? Well, darling, I'm telling you now. This heart.
This is Rita and Steve's house out by Crystal Lakes. It's Rita and Steve, and then Steve's daughter, Steve's son.
I'm no good without you anyhow. Dear, have I told you lately that I love you? Well, darling,
Looks like we're
I'm telling
looking at Roslyn, South Dakota as we drive down the road from Webster to Roslyn. Having a problem with my music back here.
blue on blue, heartache on heartache, blue on blue, now that we are through. Blue on blue, heartache on heartache, and I find
The Roslyn School with the gymnasium. That gymnasium burned down in the summer of 1994. They tore the older part of the school building down.
by two lovers pass, and as we're passing by,
Main Street of Roslyn.
you're not here with me. Now the trees are bare, there's sadness in the air.
This barber shop is now a part of the Webster Museum.
Can be blue on blue, heartache on heartache, blue on blue. Now that we are through, blue on blue, heartache on heartache, and I find I can.
the Roslyn Church.
Night after lonely night,
Strand Chorspick Rest Home.
I run to your side. You wait with open arms.
Alfred and Thelma Munshaugen's house. T and Loretta's trailer house across the street.
To me, through a little appears your
Parsonage.
fears, and I'm as blue as I can be.
That's the old creamery. It was sold this year at auction, the fire department.
Now that you're blue on blue, heartache on heartache, and I find I can't get over losing you. Blue on blue, heartache on heartache, blue on
Looked like Vivang's house, Sherman's house. Emma Jensen's trailer house
She wore blue.
out at Pickerel Lake.
Bluebird and velvet was the night. Softer than satin was the light from the stars. She wore blue.
Verona. Dennis and the boys.
Warmer than May, her tender sigh.
At this time, it was Whitey and Judy's cabin. Reuben and Verona now own the lake cabin and that lake property. This is over at Janine and Wally's when they had their trailer.
Feeling the rapture glow, like a flame burning brightly. But when she left,
Tarzan on top of the boathouse.
glow of blue velvet. But in my heart there'll always be precious and warm a memory through the years, and I still can see blue velvet through my tears. She wore blue velvet.
Dwayne. Now we're back out on the farm. I'm taking these from up in the hayloft of the barn. His usual ornery self.
Velvet through my
Scotty checking out the cats. This is out the haymow door on the other side of the barn, looking out at the old chicken coop in the pasture.
Speak softly, love, and hold me warm against your heart. I feel your words, the tender trembling morning stars. We're in a world, our very own, sharing a love that only few have ever known. Why?
In the car, evidently on the way, heading back to, oh, it looks like Yankton. This is going into Yankton, South Dakota. Larry and Dorothy Or no, it's Dorothy Weiser and Pat Euchre. And Larry and Dorothy and their little girl.
My life is yours, and all because you came into my world with love so softly, love.
Martha Euchre, out at their trailer house. Brian Euchre. Hospital where Brad was born.
You came into my world with love, so
Sacred Heart Hospital. Corvosa Plumbing and Heating, where I used to work. Ray Corvosa's trailer house.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did
This is sledding at Gilman Park. I would say we're in probably December of 1973 here. Santa's Wonderland at Gilman Park. This is all the stuff that was rebuilt after the original Christmas setup had been burned in the fire. That's the original snowman. It was stored outside so it wasn't burnt when the maintenance barn burnt down.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turned.
You really did enjoy having that park down there.
Cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Steps up to greet me. The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free.
Wondering if I have the year right on this. Brian looks more like he's 3 than 4 years old there. Other girl was a neighborhood girl. I'm not sure who she was. 4009 Locust from the back. The nativity scene. When they used to have the live nativity scene in Animals, it was so icy the kids were sledding down the cement steps on the other side of the park. They changed it to where they couldn't have religious scenes in the parks, and so they had to take this out after a number of years. And the law was passed.
Ever leave me? Don't worry at all.
Christmas in South Dakota. Ruben and Verona's. And Debbie. She and Dwayne now live at this house. Here's Brian. Brad. Pants, I made them, and then they had matching vests to go with them over those shirts. Verona. Love this picture. I think it's so good. Dwayne. It's a neat picture, too. And Debbie.
If you ever leave me, I won't show it to you. If you ever leave me,
I was just noticing the Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus on top of the TV. I still have mine that Sam and Lolly made. This was 1973, and it's now 1995. It makes them 22 years old. Hugbert, Kathy, Debbie, Dwayne, Dennis. This is before Lloyd and Kathy were married. I believe this is the Christmas they get engaged.
ever leave me.
We have the cassette recording that goes along with the program the boys are putting on here.
If you ever leave me.
Lloyd and Kathy, Debbie and Dwayne. Notice the length of Kathy's dress.
Everybody's talking at me. Can't hear a word they're saying. Only the echoes.
Noreen with a wig on, I see. This is where Kathy gets her engagement ring. Lloyd had me wrap it up in a ice bucket for her.
Only the shadows of their eyes. I'm going where the sun keeps.
Lloyd trying to convince Kathy to reenact this and show surprise. Lloyd's got quite a hairdo.
Banging over the northeast wind, sailing on a summer breeze, skipping over the ocean like a stone. Wah, wah, wah,
Watch this kiss. Doesn't look like Debbie's ready to quit when it's over with.
going where the weather suits my clothes. Banging over the northeast wind, sailing on a summer breeze, skipping over the ocean like a stone.
Larry Simonson always showed up on Christmas Eve.
Can't hear a word they're saying, only the echoes of my mind. I won't let you leave
Playing Monopoly, of course.
behind. I won't let you leave.
Did you hear that lonesome whippoorwill? He sounds too good to fly.
Noreen.
The midnight train.
Debbie.
And I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Reuben with the giant cards that we got for Hugbert when he was having trouble seeing the faces of the cards. Over at Sam and Lolly's, it's Mary Ellen's son, Scott, in the front. Reuben and Brad singing Christmas songs. Mary Ellen, both of her boys there, Scott and Alan. Wes Munsaugen, that's when Wes and Mary were still married. Lolly, she passed away last year from a heart attack.
Did you ever see
Sam?
A robin leave?
The infamous mousetrap game, Laura Lee Simonson. This is over at Simonson's. She's been known to the boys as the mousetrap girl ever since.
And I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Marla Simonson. Brad and Brian singing. Laura Lee playing the piano. Laura Lee's married and living in Iowa, and he has a boy that's, I'm sure, at least as old as Brian is there on these movies now. And they still love to sing. They'll be performing with Donnie Quinn in his show in less than a month over at North Kansas City Opry. This is when we got snowed in at Randall's. I think we were snowed in for 3 days with 70-mile-an-hour winds, and it took it half an hour just to get the kids bundled up and across the street to the Strand Shores Nursing Home so that they could sing for the residents. You almost got lost just going across the street. Being snowbound with those two boys for 3 days in that trailer was not fun. They had turned the thermostat up as high as it would go and about cooked us out. And Loretta was worrying so about her plants all the time, and they somehow managed to knock one of the doors off to one of the rooms in the trailer house. He's shoveling out.
You only build me up to let me down. If you needed me like I need, you wouldn't stay away. I have as much as you do. I know that I will never, never, never be blue. If you only love me just half as much as I love you, yeah. Oh, I never knew the art of making love, though my heart ached with love for you. Chance go by, the chance
State Fair in Sedalia. Plaza in Kansas City. The windows, their Christmas decorations. Center lighting. This is looking towards downtown. I believe we're up near the Liberty Memorial, looking down on Union Station in downtown Kansas City here. This is 1974. Starlight Theater out at Luce Park.
Everybody's on the town.
That's when we went out there to see Jerry Lewis. The pre-show was done by Peter Marshall. He was a host of some TV shows at the time.
From the ghetto, lots of space. Empty apartments, no more pollution. Plenty of classrooms every place. And it looks like we're ready to give it one more try. This time there'll be no alibi.
Kansas City Zoo again. These were a couple boys in the neighborhood of 4009 Locust that went with us on this trip. It's Kevin Despain, Brian, the big ape house. I guess they've made major changes to the zoo. We haven't been out there since their big rebuilding process. This music is by B.J. Thomas. Those two boys were the boys that we got Booger from when she was a kitten. That was in 1974. We got her in 1975. She's 20 years old and still hanging in there.
In a day now, I will hear you say goodbye, my love. Then you'll be on your way. Oh, my wild, beautiful bird, you will have flown. In a day now, I'll be all alone. In a day now, when your restless eyes meet someone new, oh, to my sad surprise, they'll have blue shadows will fall all over town. In a day now, love will let me down.
Worlds of Fun. This is what we call our entertainment segment of the movies.
Oh, my wild, beautiful bird, you will have fun, yeah. In a day now, I'll be all alone. I know I shouldn't want to keep you when you don't want to stay here. But until you're gone forever, I'll be holding on for dear life, holding you this way, begging you to stay. In a day now, when the clock strikes go, you call it off.
These pictures are being taken out of the overhead cable cars as we rode across the park.
Blue shadows will fall all over town. In a day now, love will let me down, 'cause you won't be around. Oh,
had a hot air balloon race that day. We're standing in line waiting to go on one of the rides as the balloons are passing overhead.
She was just 16 and all alone when I came to be. So we grew up together, my mama, child, and me. Now things were bad and she was scared, but whenever I would cry, she'd calm my fears and dry my tears with a rock and roll lullaby. And she would sing, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, just hold on tight. Sing it to me, mama. Sing it sweet and clear, oh mama, let me hear that old rock and roll lullaby. Made it through the lonely days, but Lord, the nights were long, and we dream of better morning when Mama sang a song. Now I can't recall the words at all. It don't make sense to try now, 'cause I just knew lots of love came through in that rock and roll lullaby. And she'd sing, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, just hold on tight. I can hear your mama. Nothing moves my soul like the sound of a good old rock and roll lullaby.
This is out at the sports complex. It's Arrowhead Stadium. That's Dennis going over to sit by Fritz. I do believe that's the Oakland Raiders.
I got to know you 'cause I've heard
They say be confined. Yes, I'm in love.
Worlds of Fun put on the halftime entertainment. We're just walking up higher and higher into the stadium and filming to see what the shots look like from the different heights in the stadium.
Let me be the last to know. My hands are shaking. Let my heart keep breaking 'cause I need your love.
Otis Taylor and Lenny Dawson, some of the players that they had up on the screen there as they were being introduced.
In love with the sky. If not, I'll just die.
Looks like it was filled to capacity that day. I guess Dennis and I did have corner seats that day. Here we're way up at the top looking down.
Tell me now, is it so? Don't let me be the last to know. My head.
I believe this is a new scoreboard. That's why we're concentrating on the scoreboard so much.
My heart keeps breaking 'cause I need your love, and I want
The artificial turf that they're playing on, we now have a piece of in our home. They removed the artificial turf and sold it in pieces and then replaced it with real grass. 1994. This is the American Royal Parade. These are taken down by Crown Center.
trap. I can't walk out because
Horace's war paint. It's the one that the Chiefs used each time there was a touchdown.
Why can't you see what you're doing to me when you don't believe a word I say?
This is the Westport High School band. We'd always see them practicing across the street from us in the park. I believe that's the Gardner, Kansas band. Brad and Brian will be singing backup for Donnie Quinn doing this song, Suspicious Minds, here in April. It's part of the Elvis Aloha from Hawaii show. It's Halloween at Crown Center. And this parade is in North Kansas City. It's when Kane's grandfather, Mr. DeVore, was Smokey the Bear. This music seemed awfully appropriate for Lloyd and Kathy's wedding. Dan Home, Janine Adlin, Rudy Granquist and Sam, Lil Home, Brenda Granquist and Janine, Thelma Granquist and Brenda, Agnes Home, Dan Home and Debbie and Dwayne, June and John Johnson in the background, Lil Home with, I believe that's Sarah, and Brad, Lolly, June and John Johnson, Janine, Agnes Home, and Kathy's mother, Reuben, Vivian Larson coming through the line there. Kathy. Adam Guilford. Dwayne. And that's Diane Bradley, her husband. Nick, I believe, was her husband's name. And that's Tom O'Toole, Linda's husband. Linda Lawsett's husband. I had this marked 1974. I hope I'm right on that. Esther Strand in that one shot. These are two of Kathy's brothers. Bruce. T and Dennis Randall. Larry Simonson, Vivian Larson. Larry was Lloyd's best man. Vivian played the piano. Gary and Bonnie Strand sang. That's Kathy's mom and dad. Her dad has since passed away. Reuben, Verona, Lloyd, Kathy, and Brad. Brad was the ring bearer. Brian, Missy Strand, Scott Strand, Todd Strand. Verona and Reuben. One of Kathy's brothers, two of Kathy's brothers. Gary Strand in the background. The hats that the bridesmaids had on were meant to be stiffly starched and sat on top of the head, and they went to pick them up just before the wedding, and they were real stretched out and floppy, and Kathy made a last-minute adjustment, so they were different than they intended them to be. There's the vet all decorated up. Now they're getting ready to fill the Corvette with balloons. Dwayne's supposed to be guarding the car. Instead, he's out there helping fill it up with balloons. Gary and Bonnie Strand in the background. Wally Adlin. Dwayne.
Music.
Missy Strand blowing a balloon. Adam blowing one up in the background. Coming out of the building after the reception to find their car filled with balloons. Bringing Grandma Josie over. I just love this shot and Grandma Josie's smile as she looks in and sees all the balloons in the car. That's Diane and Nick there in the background. Diane has since committed suicide. Stan Snaza and
shake your tambourine. Lift your voices to the sky. I've gotta let you when you sing. I believe in music. Oh, yes, I believe in love. Everybody knows music is a universal language, and love is the key.
Fly. Kathy's sister Karen. The boys always called her Fly.
So take your brother by the hand and sing along with me and find out what it really means to feel young, rich and free. Everybody now.
Debbie caught the bouquet.
I believe in music.
far as Kansas City with us, and then he flew on Braniff back to Texas.
The road is long, with a million winding turns that leads us through those where, who knows where. Strong enough to carry him. He ain't heavy, he's just my brother. So long we go. His welfare is my concern. No burden is he to bear. Oh, we're gonna get there. Oh, I know. Why don't we share?
This is the neighborhood picnic at the Roslyn Park. That's Linda and Nancy Troutner, Missy Strand, Jimmy Patton, Todd Strand. It's Brad and Missy and Scott Strand. Todd Strand. Bonnie and Noreen and the kids getting ready to play some sort of game. It's Verona. Must be the other one. Must be Debbie.
And the feeling just got right for a brand new love song. Somebody done somebody wrong song. Hey, won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song and make me feel at home.
It's Dennis, Larry Troutner,
Baby, while I miss my baby,
Reuben,
so play.
Gary Strand. This is Marilyn Colessa out at Janine's cabin out at the lake and her children.
Hurting song about a love that's gone wrong. 'Cause I don't want to cry all alone. Hey, won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song and make me feel at home
It's Dennis with Brad and Brian out in the water.
while I miss
Verona and Dennis. Marilyn's husband, Marilyn and the kids. It's Roger Madison.
play for me.
Children are Scotty and Renee.
So sad that it makes everybody cry.
And Jimmy Patton on the swing.
A real hurting song about a love that's gone wrong. 'Cause I don't want to cry all alone. Hey,
This is Summer Vacation 1974.
And make me feel at home while I miss my baby.
Scotty and Renee.
Won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song and make me feel at home while I miss my baby.
This is down at Browns Valley, down in front of Grandma Douglas's house, or between Grandma Douglas and that's over by Buzzy and Dorothy's house. Might be wrong, this looks like it's Randall's trailer house. Dennis and Brian.
And who's the one you didn't need to plead to give her time to the little league? It was Mama. Oh, Mama. And who's the one who gave a shoulder?
I believe we're driving down to Browns Valley now. This is down the big hill going into the valley. Sisseton Hill, I guess it's called.
It was Mama. Mama.
Now entering Browns Valley is Jerry Douglas, T and Dennis. Jerry was working for the FBI at this time. And Jerry's wife at the time, Buzzy Douglas, T, Buzzy, and Dennis. This is Jack. Dorothy. And Jerry coming from the direction of their house, of Buzzy and Dorothy's house. Lloyd in his fancy swimming trunks, swinging Brian out in front of Randall's trailer house in Roslyn. Indian powwow at Sisseton, South Dakota.
They were as in love as we were in it too, and then Billy had to die. And when you hear
It's Jimmy and Brad and Brian.
you'll hang your head and cry. He and Sue met the first day of school, and ever since lived by the golden rule.
South Dakota sunset as we drove back home from the powwow.
You'd have to be a fool. This mutual agreement of love and trust made them travel the road to marriage or bust. And when Billy was old enough to take a wife,
Lloyd and Kathy. Larry and Ron Simonson. This is over at Marlis and Leslie's house where Ron Simonson now lives, only Ron's built a new house there. Laura Lee Simonson. Neil Stianson out at Pickerel Lake.
From Sue, he was worried sick, but what could he do? The bullets were screaming as he hugged the ground and back home.
He and Janie now own the cabin next door to Reuben and Verona's, and Reuben and Verona own the cabin that used to belong to Whitey and Judy Nelson. There's Lloyd and Kathy out in the water.
The first day of school, and ever since lived by the golden rule, because when you do unto others what you wouldn't want done to you, you'd have to be a fool. This mutual agreement of love and trust made them travel the road to marriage or bust, and when Billy was old enough to take a wife, he was old enough to fight for his country and his way of life. Sue's letters came every day, strengthened his cause, they showed him the way to fight for his country and the girl he loves. That's a soldier's only pay. But then Billy heard no more from Sue. He was worried sick, but what could he do? The bullets were screaming as he hugged the ground and back home. Sue was running dry. Billy was getting less and less strong. His hope, his faith was almost gone, and then like a miracle the letter appeared.
This was when the powwows were so good before they had the Indian uprising at the Rosebud Reservation, and then so many of the Indians were afraid to come into South Dakota because of the problems they were having. Russell Means was one of the Indian that was leading a lot of the problems in the Rosebud Reservation area, and when Jerry Douglas was working for the FBI, he was one of the people that transported Russell Means from the Kansas City area back to South Dakota. In the last few years, we've gone to the powwows, and they've rebuilt to where they're just about this quality again.
In the misty moonlight, by the flickering firelight, any place is alright, as long as I'm with you. Quit the fight, and then I see you, baby, and everything's alright. Everything's
It's Marcia Neville's oldest girl, Catherine. Marcia carrying her other girl. Ernie Neville, he's since passed away. Reuben and Verona. Margaret Neville. Ernie on as usual, locking his granddaughter in the trunk of the car.
What the touch of your hand can do, it's like nothing that I ever knew. Hey, and when the rain is falling, I can feel it, 'cause you're here with me now. I wanna catch you, baby, it's all I ever need.
Looks like Fritz in the background, taken over in front of Ann's house. ring the Christmas tree at 4009 Locust. It's Jimmy Patton helping with Dennis and Brad and Brian. This is December of 1974. Brian singing.
Baby, when I see you smile, smile at me.
That was music from the 80s. I'm going to switch back to some oldies since we're not in the 80s yet. These are these little plastic skis that Mom gave the boys. And they used those after we moved to Excelsior Springs, and Brad could slide down the hill at Sunnyside Park on one ski without it even strapped to his feet. Steve and Tim Tunnicliffe. Leanne. Steve, Tim, and Paul. Brad and Brian, they're on top of the Bruder house on the farm, the Reuben and Verona's farm. Boys have parkas on here, but it was nice enough. When Mom came out of the house, she's got on a sleeveless top, and it was really warm. It's Paul Tunnicliffe down on the ground. There's Verona, no coat. In December in South Dakota.